This is the Dr. Don Show. It's your health, it's your life on the Astral Radio Network. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, listeners. Well, that's been a pretty interesting program, Michelle. We've been talking about all kinds of things with brain injuries, and there's all kinds of symptoms that people have, which go unexplained, chronically untreated, and I suspect that Colleen Butler's explanation of her experience with a chiropractor actually coming down with the diagnosis and then starting the treatment program. I'm sure there was many other things that Colleen did that were important in her path of recovery. But it is interesting to note that her family chiropractor saw that issue in the spine, began the treatment, the movement started to come back in the spine, and she was starting to find the recovery path of her brain concussion.
Yeah, well, as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, chiropractic education deals a lot with neurology, does it not?
If it wasn't for the nerves, I'd be doing something else. So neurology is really, we talk about the spine, but really it's the core of the spine, the spinal cord, the related nerve system. So it's really the key thing in chiropractic is the understanding of the nerve system, the role it has to play in one's health, and how you influence that more directly through the spine and the related tissues. But yeah, I mean, if there wasn't, if the spinal cord and the nervous system wasn't so important to the body's function, I'd be finding something else to do, and so would 66,000 other chiropractic doctors in North America be doing something else if it wasn't for the spinal cord. So you're absolutely right.
And one of the things that I really liked about what Colleen was saying, and it applies to anyone with any kind of health condition, any healthcare consumer, is to be your own doctor. Make sure you're informed, that you have the information, that you're armed with that information so that you can make the right decisions about your care.
When we started this program, and that's something I need to remind the listeners of every Monday, the program's basis is empowering you to make better healthcare decisions. In fact, to even make healthcare decisions. So we tend to have this problem where, I've said it before, that in the latter years of high school, grades 10, 11, and 12, and really all through school, there really isn't any health education, which we can address in some simple terms like letting people know about their bodies. They got to look after it for 100 years or so. But the other tragedy is we don't actually empower each grade 12 class to know that they are responsible for their own bodies, not somebody else. So we don't really give them adequate information. And to add insult to injury, we don't actually tell them that you are the one, and empower them to take control and find that information and look past the headline of the television story, look past the headline of the printed information. So looking past things, we got a couple of things coming up here. What was that Health Canada warning?
Yeah, so it says that Health Canada just wants to remind Canadians not to mix caffeinated energy drinks with alcohol. So what exactly does that mean? What should we be concerned about there?
Well, it looks like the finding is simply that with all the sugar in these caffeinated drinks, you may not be aware of the symptoms from the alcohol. So you got those two things going on. You don't really feel the full effects of the alcohol, so you keep drinking a few more if that's what's happening in a social environment. And the caffeine and the sugary caffeine drinks start to mask the effects of the alcohol. The end result is that you start to get a little drowsy. The alcohol intake continues. You get a little more of that dehydration, and the overconsumption of alcohol, as we all know, could lead to tragic alcoholic poisoning and also alcohol-related injuries. So the warning from Health Canada, Michelle, is?
Don't mix caffeine and alcohol together.
And never drive and drink.
That's right.
Yeah, so anyway, though we see those consumer information all the time is advertising all those caffeinated drinks, these sugar drinks. So listeners, pay attention and understand what you're putting into your body. You need to be empowered. Don't let the commercial empower you. You need to do it. Now, the other thing we've got going on is the Bodhi meditation event.
We do, yeah, November 18th, so it's coming up next month. And we did this last year. It was very successful. Dawn, you spoke in the morning, and in the afternoon we had some of our chiropractic doctors come out and give spine consultations to members of the public, and it was really well received. A lot of people coming in there, and you and I see this all the time at the events that we do, where people are coming with files. People are coming, they're saying that, oh, my doctor told me, or my health practitioner told me that I just have to learn to live with this. It's associated with old age, and this pain is never going to go away. So it was really, disheartening to see how many people had suffered for so long, but really encouraging to see that our chiropractic doctors were there to offer their assistance and advice.
And while we won't name them, we should give recognition to those chiropractic doctors, because I think it was about 4 months, there was a regular clinic held at the Bodhi Meditation Center for their members, and these were people who otherwise couldn't access healthcare, and in specific, spine and spine-related injuries and problems. Some of them were car crash, as we've talked about already. So our doctors volunteered their time on a weekly basis. I think it was Wednesdays. They went there and helped out those members of the Bodhi Meditation Center. And I think we're going to take a look and see if the Bodhi Meditation Center and its members still have that need. Then I'm sure we're going to find some of our doctors that are going to step up and provide those voluntary services.
Absolutely. So November 18th, it's a free event open to the public, Bodhi Meditation Center on Alderbridge Way in Richmond. And of course, we'll have more information on that in the coming weeks.
Now, we mentioned already the BC government declaring Healthcare Assistant Day. So let's just remind everybody, October 18th is Healthcare Assistant Day. And these are the people that look after your family members, whether they're in a residential environment for seniors living, or whether these are people that are coming to your home because you need some assistance once or twice a week, and they may be looking after you and I in the future. So community healthcare workers and Healthcare Assistant Day, take note, ladies and gentlemen.
Our unsung heroes.
Now, Michelle, we've also got, as we've said before to our friends and listeners, Empowered Health coming up again.
That's right. So the BC Chiropractic Association is working on season 2 of Empowered Health. So it's going to be another 26 episodes of really exciting information. And season 2 is going to focus, at least the Your Spine, Your Health segment is going to focus primarily on research, education, and highlighting those achievements in the academic world.
And I know that the producers, Stu McNish and Oh Boy Productions, they've gone out and they've interviewed some of the researchers that are at the universities in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and they have plans to actually be in Toronto as well as Halifax and conduct some more interviews with some of the keynote researchers that are there in those universities. So these chiropractic doctors conducting research at universities will be featured in the Empowered Health segment. And I know some of this, because I'm going to make sure I do it at least, is going to resonate back to the brain injury and the cervical injuries that we heard Colleen talk about earlier on today, because the whole evidence that we're seeing in the evidence-based research, like we talked about MRI, and that body of evidence that gets ignored far too frequently is the patient. They're, after all, living with whatever symptoms they experience 24/7. The visit to the doctor, no matter which doctor it is, that might be once a month, once a week, or once every 3 months for 15 or 20 minutes. That's just a minor snapshot of that person's reality. So we'll get into that. Now, the other thing that the BC chiropractors did, which we should tell the public, because they can find this on our website too, is that the government conducts regular town hall meetings. And this latest town hall meetings was wanting to know what all British Columbians wanted to say about health care, and in this case, it was the Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Health Services. So this was a committee of the government, both sides of the House, went around the province, held meetings, invited people to present, and the BC Chiropractic presentation was made October the 2nd, 2012, and basically the message was rather simple. There is enough money in healthcare. We just need to start spending it more effectively, paying more attention to early diagnosis, correct diagnosis, and also, more importantly, outcomes of care. The outcomes of care that I like to remind people about is practice-based evidence. And what is practice-based evidence? Is what you did to the patient yesterday becoming effective. So everybody, free daily exercise sheets are available, bcchiro.com. Remember, email us, radio@bcchiro.com. I'm Dr. Don, joined by Michelle in studio. Thanks for listening tonight, and thanks to our production team, Art Factora, and of course you. Join us again next Monday at 6 here on AM 650. On the next show, we're going to have registered massage therapist Robert Libby here to discuss the benefits that they can provide for recovery of pain and other chronic conditions. Until then, I'm Dr. Don, encouraging you to make informed health choices. After all, it is your health. It is your life. Good night, Gary.
Admit it, your body hasn't exactly been running like a well-oiled machine lately, has it? Don't put up